Listener discretion is advised. This podcast may include profanity and discussion of sensitive topics. Any opinions expressed are those of the speaker and do not reflect the opinions of any other person or entity.
Welcome to episode 14 of the Real Future podcast. My name is John Nyboer. I'm a Los Angeles-based photographer of street dance culture, and I started this podcast to share the personal stories and perspectives behind the world's largest arts movement. My guest today is Sheapatra Jones, aka She Street, aka She. I'm really excited to share this conversation and the drum dance improv that follows. She Street has been mentioned by multiple guests as an influence and mentor, and following these connections is what this podcast is all about. As a dancer, videographer, director, and choreographer, She Street has worked with a long list of artists, including Missy Elliott, Pharrell, Snoop Dogg, Donald Glover, and Estelle. She Street has also formed The Council, an LA-based empowerment collective that creates space and support for women through the medium of art. The Council is also an undeniably inspiring group of movement artists. Follow the links in the description to see some of their work. Our conversation explores her upbringing in Memphis, her organic development as an artist, and the origins and meaning of The Council. We also have a drum and dance exchange that is truly an exchange. She Street plays drums, and we took turns at the kit. Let's get into the real future with Sheapatra Jones.
Here we go.
All right,
Yeah.
we are here. Cool. You got everything you need?
I have everything.
You got a break at any point? You know, this is all editable,
All right. Okay,
editable
yeah.
and changeable and,
Yeah.
and malleable and all that.
Okay, got
Um,
you. Lovely.
One of us, it's probably me because I am a loudmouth.
Is it?
No.
Hi. Hey.
no, we're
okay.
good.
All right.
Sheapatra,
What's up?
I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to the real future.
Nice. I'm happy to be here, actually.
I believe that, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day
Of course.
and out of your life, and just the trust and all that, right?
Absolutely.
Like a lot of dancers, we've been in the same rooms a lot, and
Yes,
it's
a
like
lot.
loud, and
Absolutely.
and you're dancing, and I'm photographing, and
And we're just crossing paths like this. Yeah.
exactly.
it.
So it's going to be cool to like get to know you a little bit. I like to start with what I think is a fun question. We'll find out.
Okay.
Do you have what's your first dance memory?
First dance memory. Yikes.
Like the kind of the kind of thing that I don't know, something that made you realize you want to keep working at dance, right?
Okay, so I think that's a hard question because my dance memories are really early, but the acknowledgement that I wanted to dance as a career in life was really late. So
Okay.
I don't know if you want this is my first memories of dancing and probably when I started being influenced towards
Yeah.
dance, or if you want this is when I knew I'm going to dance.
Let's go. Well, I kind of want whatever feels good to you.
Okay.
I definitely want the full story.
Okay.
Because whatever you don't tell me, I'm going to ask about
Later. Yeah, I feel it.
All right.
Okay. I would say my earliest memories of dance is probably obviously very communal. So church, because they were mime, praise dance, teams and praise dancers. They were insane. So they were actually using elements of praise dancing and popping. It was crazy.
at your church.
Yeah, because at that time when I was little, I don't know if they do it as much now, but they would paint their faces like mimes, and so they would praise dance and mime to gospel songs, and it would be it was just crazy. I can't even explain it. I would
Did you
have to,
participate in this, or were you more of a?
I eventually became a praise dancer, but by the time I started dancing, my church didn't necessarily do the face paint, the face painting aspect. And it sounds crazy, but if I showed you, you'd be like, okay, I get it. So I think that, and then obviously school, dancing with my friends, and I was a little high stepper, a majorette when I was
You were majorette?
yeah,
I was in marching band.
okay, yeah. So kindergarten, first grade, into second grade. I think by second grade I transitioned to playing drums. My brother's a drummer, so I started playing drums instead of being a majorette. But
Okay.
yeah,
Do you still? I asked you a second ago. I don't actually remember. You still play a little bit?
yeah, I can still play the
Okay.
drums.
Well, if you feel like it, I'm going to invite you to have a little exchange.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
maybe you can get on those drums too. That might be kind of sweet.
Okay.
But the praise dancing is so it does not sound crazy to me. It's certainly, I grew up in a very kind of typical suburban white Protestant church.
Right.
That was not going on.
Right.
But I have heard of this, and more specifically, D-Pain.
Okay.
A very similar background with the face.
Yeah, the face paint.
Like taking it all the way.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the history of that?
I actually don't, and that's really interesting. I wonder if it just is stemming from a mix of kids who listen to secular music and, were involved in secular dancing, but they still went to church and still loved God. And I wonder if it was just like a morphing of someone's dance abilities into what they were already learning at church. So it probably went from like, I don't know, God is good to like, God is good. You know what I'm saying? So
I do, yes. I remember some of those movements.
Yeah, so it began to like just break. I think it kind of started morphing. That's what I would assume.
And you grew up in Memphis, right?
I did, Memphis, Tennessee.
Did your family like go way back in Memphis or?
So I think everyone is kind of always from Mississippi. So like my great grandfather and his family. So my grandfather's father and my grandmother's folks and my dad's folks, all of their folks are from Mississippi. So I would say maybe 3 generations of my family, from me to my mom to my grandparents, are like Memphis raised. And then once it goes to my great grandparents, everyone's from some part of Mississippi, whether it's Batesville, Mississippi, or just like these random small cities.
Yeah.
And I think they wind up migrating towards Memphis, yeah.
So you've got deep Southern roots, but
yeah, for sure.
You're not just like, my family moved to Memphis when I was 12 or whatever.
Yeah,
like
no. I'm
generations
from there.
there.
Yeah.
Did the praise dancing you're describing? Was it the youth, or were there older people involved? And
Both.
So were the older people like, oh, we used to do it like this?
Not to my knowledge. I never really ran into that. I think it was just they were always embracive, and it was never a conversation of like, this is how we did it. In my experiences, because I think they were just happy to see that the youth was still interested in being in church and dancing. You know what I'm saying? So I think for them, it was just like embracing of the styles, and it was moving. I don't think anyone could look at it and not think that it was like not the right way or the proper way.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's extend that question then. When did you start dancing outside of church?
Early on, I think I was simultaneously dancing everywhere. Like I danced at church, but I wasn't necessarily from a family that confined me to church.
Okay.
Right? So it wasn't like, you can't do these things. You can only be involved in church. It was very much like Sundays, you do praise dancing. You go to school, you have majorette practice, or, the church, or there would be some kind of community something, or other that would start like a drill team. And if I wanted to do something like that, I could. I just was pretty much like, I could do whatever I wanted, because I don't think there was a worry of being exposed to anything crazy. Because I feel like at that time, we danced like kids. It was not like going to be anything crazy. So, it was all at the same time, I think.
Crazy is relative.
Yeah.
Right? Like some parents are like, no secular music in the home. It's like,
exactly.
That's it.
And and if it is in the home, then that's crazy to them. So you're right. It is. It's about where you are in life and what you believe, I guess. So I'm honored to say that I had a family that would allow me to do all the things.
That's nice. So you weren't like forced to rebel.
No. No. They knew great music and all the things, and still at the same time loved God. So it worked out. I think a well-balanced family.
So when did you start getting involved in street dance specific? Like going to sessions, and do you remember your first battle, for example? My
first battle was in high school. As far as like official battle, where they were like, you're going to battle this girl. I battled a legend, a female jooker. Her name is LaShante Anderson, and I battled her. I remember being scared out of my mind. I was probably like 15 or 16. It's interesting for me to try to backtrack, like getting involved in street dance culture because realistically, that's not something that was ever a thing until I became an adult. Like this is just for me, it was like, this is just my community. I mean, we battled at parties. We battled that who could do the best chicken head, who had the best lean with it, rock with it, who had the best pancake, who was the best jooker. But these were things that happened at school, at a school dance or in the hallway or outside of school if somebody had, a little radio or something going on. And so I feel like all of my earliest experiences literally were synonymous with just my life. So it's hard to really separate.
No, that's really cool.
That moment of like, oh, I saw this person like breaking, and I was like, oh my God, because I feel like from the very moment that I could process what it was to sing and to dance and to move, I was already ingesting what we now call street dance culture. But it just was, I think, me being surrounded with a lot of culturally Black things, and as far as dance or the approach to dance and dance styles and the movies we watched. And this movie might have had poppers in it. It could have been breaking, or it could have been, B Street, or it could have been anything that my mom wanted to show me. And this is how we used to move, what we used to do. So, yeah, it's like, I think it wasn't until I actually moved to LA, that I recognized like, oh, this is an industry, right? Like that was never really a...
Interesting. I wasn't personally thinking about the industry, but it sounds like you grew up in a really nice... Did you have a big family?
I have one brother, but I do have a big family, like lots of cousins, lots of aunties, uncles. So yeah, I would say, especially growing up, but now a lot of them have, like there's an entire generation of my family. The last great uncle passed maybe like 2 weeks ago. So like there is a great deal of... I was close to all my family, even my elderly great aunts and uncles. So I feel like there's a whole generation of them that no longer are here, but I also had taste in their music and saw them dance and saw them do old school things that now you look and you go, oh, like I watched this video and I saw what locking was or this, but you have a family member that would do little reruns at the party, but they weren't a dancer. It was because culturally, at that time, they were younger and watching.
Yeah.
People lock in the 70s, but they were 15. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, did you actually watch What's Happening?
My mother did, and so as a
that's
little
like more
girl,
my generation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I shared a lot of generational things with my family. We were so close, so my knowledge of movies, music, all the things, it was not just limited to like what I ingested.
So I hear what you're saying. Were you in Memphis, or were you more out in the country?
Memphis.
You were in the city.
In Memphis.
Now, I have been to Memphis a couple times, believe it or not, and I really enjoyed it. But it is, my impression of it is it's not, like there's a central city, but there is kind of a lot of space, right? Like a lot of the South is like this.
Yeah.
So you got, there is a city and it's very real, but then there's like a lot of space. And what you're describing, this is really interesting. The reason that I was drawn to street dance was because of the cultural community aspect.
Okay.
In a time where people are more and more disassociated, here's something where people come together. Right. Predominantly younger people, but it's cross generations. There's 50 years of history now.
Yeah.
And thus dancing becomes part of life, which, I grew up playing piano.
Okay.
And then I grew up playing drums, and I was always music, but it was always something that you did, right? It's kind of this, I think, industrial or capitalist mentality of specialization versus like, no, music and dance and song are just part of life. And it took me like not until probably my mid to late 20s to really understand this. And it's like, and I think that was through like getting exposed to things like Cuban music. Yeah. And there was spiritual. I lived in Palms for a long time.
Okay.
And there was a Nigerian drummer there. He had a place in Palms called Yoruba House.
Okay.
And that was another environment where it was like, oh, this is just kind of like part of life. It's not necessarily something that you have to be a specialist in, or
Right.
that you have to have a career.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
it just kind of makes your life better.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably the first person I've talked to, I mean, in this podcast, that really grew up in this kind of fluid environment like this. When you go back home, is it still like that?
I think so. I think in a lot of ways, obviously places change with just the like life and lack of certain resources, certain things. So right now, you know, sometimes I think that when I go home, I'm less able to be or see the involvement of the community in the way that I'm used to. There is definitely a juking community. There's definitely a dancing community. But I'm telling you that my experience didn't necessarily come from the fact that people catered to a dance style and got together. Right.
Yes.
So I feel like that is probably also, I haven't lived in Memphis in 15 years, but when I go home to visit, there's a big difference because I think the climate of the city has changed due to life. Things are harder. Drugs are rampant. Crime is high everywhere, but also at home in a smaller city. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the idea of coming together and people getting out and having fun, it definitely happens. But now the conversation sometimes might be like, well, I don't know if I'm going to go out this weekend because there's been a lot going on and I don't feel as comfortable maybe going out. And so I think that sometimes that weird system of just like drugs or whatever the thing is, and I'm not saying this is all of Memphis, but there is an attack on just kind of like humanity in general. And so I feel like that makes it harder for you to be able to kind of relive those moments that I had as a kid. Definitely believe it still happens through church. Definitely believe it still happens through, you know, these smaller pods of people who are doing specific things. But I don't know if it's still as, I mean, oh my God, I could just think of so many programs and things, just free things that people came back home and created and did and just gave us an opportunity to constantly be able to, like, I like to say, spar with one another. Spar, you know, you don't realize you're doing it, but you are. I mean, some of the most amazing musicians and singers I have ever met in my life come from my city, and they are not technically trained, and they can do everything you can't do as a technically trained person, or they do everything by ear. Or my brother's technically trained, so my brother has been playing drums since he was like 2.5. Like, we have videos, and my grandfather immediately put him in drum lessons. So my brother was like the best of both worlds, which means he was submerged in the same thing I was, but he was able to have like a technical standpoint. So he could read music. He did jazz band. He did all these things. You know, at 15, he had like a job at a jazz club, and he played in a jazz trio.
Nice.
Like, he was already very much so playing with blues bands and playing with all these in church. And so I think different environments require different versions of him. So maybe he'd go play with this jazz quartet, and maybe they gave him some music to learn. And then maybe at some point he could riff a little bit, but he had a set to play. Versus at church, he's playing from the spirit. And yeah, they had rehearsal. And yeah, there's this thing that they're playing. Or you're in blues, you're at a you know, some type of blues club, and you're playing with this band. So I think that he was able to kind of like approach life from so many different standpoints. And he could kind of use both sides of the brain in that sense. Whereas I think I have always been, I got a little bit more technical about things as an adult. I think I have always been a free bird. I mean, I could play the piano a little bit, but it was by ear. I could sing, but it was by ear. I mean, you could play something and I would sing with you in key, but I can't tell you what notes you're playing, and I can't, you know,
Right.
The drums. I could play it. My brother will play something and he go, okay, you're going to go, taka-doo-goo. And I would just play it back.
Oh, yeah. Drummers are generally good at that.
Yeah.
Because something about, and that's why I started drums, because piano was always like, I don't think I hated it that much because I stuck with it. Like my mom was able to keep me doing it. But I did wrestle with it, and then once I picked up the drums, I was like, oh, I can say, and then I can do that. piano, I'm actually just learning to do that now.
Okay.
I got my studio mate keeps a piano here.
Yeah.
And I've been sitting down and
Beautiful
working on songs, and actually for the first time in my life, playing without music in front of my face.
Yeah,
and
because
being
you're
able
like,
to just sit down and play.
That's amazing.
And I've got the ear, but I never was able to have that kind of freedom on it. Or felt like I could just, I was playing Bach.
I feel that.
Which
I feel
love to this day, but like it wasn't the same
as that freedom. I feel that. I understand that. If it makes you feel any better, I tried piano. I took lessons.
No, it all makes you feel good.
I quit. I quit because I couldn't. I don't think I could focus enough. I was very young as well, but I had a great uncle who was just legendary at the keys, and I told him I want to learn to play, and he went and bought me a book and sat it down, and we sat at the piano every day for like 4 days, and then I was like, "Hey, Mom, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to learn. I think I just want to do whatever,
right.
But that was, I think, early on in my brain learning, like, okay, I don't know. I think maybe that was the child me recognizing that I didn't want structure to a certain extent with my creativity, because it was kind of hard for me.
Well, you are really like, I've seen you dance a lot, and there is a certain freedom that like I didn't really know. I still don't really know, but I know now that you have some deep connection to juking, which I want to get into in a sec.
Yeah.
But watching you dance, I didn't really know. I was just like, wow, she kind of seems like. Do you know when I first met you?
When?
So I met you. Remember, Slim and his crew used to throw that a lot. Used to through the battle games.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you came to some of those, and you were at one, and you were getting down with Smooth Galaxy.
Oh snap!
And it was at Creatington, so they had a room with like crazy lights and zebra walls.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Creatington. I
think I met both of you that same day because you both really stood out as like just super kind of comfortable in their own skin dancers.
Yeah.
And
especially Smooth Galaxy. Yeah.
And I just said,
cool.
I just introduced myself.
Yeah.
And, but I remember that. But at some point, so getting back to what you said about you wanted a lot of freedom in your creativity, and at some point you must have taken a disciplined approach to some aspect of your dancing. And when did that start?
I'd say I got a little bit more disciplined around maybe about 11th grade.
Okay.
And it was actually through a guy who wound up becoming like my first boyfriend. His name is Miles, and he is a Memphis Joker as well. He wound up moving to LA. But Miles was already involved in like a dance company. So this was the first time I was being introduced to like a company that did like hip hop choreography, and I feel like through that introduction and then kind of getting into that dance company, then I started to recognize the importance of training something, because I had to go and learn choreo, and I recognized, wow, these people are a lot more comfortable than me at this, and they are conditioning and they're like training. And you're right, I am dancing and I am tired. And like there are so many things that kind of, and I played basketball for a bit, so then I kind of started to relate it to like, oh, okay, like definitely sports. This is sports. There is a certain way that like you need to kind of prepare yourself. So I think that was like my first introduction to like, okay, you're gonna need structure. And at that time with freestyle to me was still like freestyle. I will admit that for I think most of my life, my approach to freestyle was that you were supposed to just watch people, and then you were just supposed to figure it out. And I don't know why that was the concept for me. I think maybe it's because I would watch like these juking tapes with my cousin of this legend named Gino, and my cousin and all these boys, we would be in a room, and my cousin would be watching this tape, and they would all be watching this tape on.
And it was actual tape.
Actual tape,
VHS,
like VHS.
Right?
And they would be watching this tape, and I'm like a little girl, and they would cut the tape off, and then they would get up and go outside, and then they would start like juking,
drilling it,
and like trying to do. So even like a lot of the things that I learned, I would see something on TV, and then I would try, I would see like Usher and You Got It Bad, and he like is like ticking. And so I sat in my mirror for weeks and practiced like what I thought ticking was. And I feel like that was like my space with freestyle
Yeah.
until I moved to LA. Because
Okay.
LA is like, when I got here, I started to recognize, again, I said, this is the first time I recognized this is an industry. This is like a whole smorgasbord of things and people with different ideas.
So you didn't move out here because of that?
I moved here for dancing.
Okay.
But I never realized that like I would meet. So I met a group of poppers. I came here, and then 2 friends from Memphis also moved here, which was Miles and Lil Buck. We went to high school together. So
Oh, really?
yes, we grew up together. So we linked up, and we were dancing. And then they had friends, and they were friends with this guy at the time named John Books, which I wound up being in his crew. He was from
You were in John's crew?
Yes, I was in Control Freaks. So this guy came from Fort Lauderdale at the time with like a crew of other guys, and they all were like, "We're here. We're coming from LA, and if you know anything about Florida, shouts out to Florida. I love Florida. Florida dancers and battlers are like a different beast.
I can't believe.
They're different
Yeah.
in the best way.
It's just unbelievable
Yeah.
how many
Yeah."
dancers
I mean,
have come out here and they're all good.
Yeah, Florida is insane. And I mean, I all respect, I'm talking about from Southern Florida, from Fort Lauderdale, Miami, to Orlando, to Tampa, to Jacksonville. Like, the whole state is on fire. And so when I met this brother, Buck was like, I want you to meet this guy. I feel like y'all are going to love each other.
And this is when you first came out here,
When
right?
I first
Okay.
came out here. He was like, I feel like you guys are going to love each other because you have similar styles. And I think at the time I was still trying to figure out what the hell my style was. Like, what am I doing? You know, like it was all feeling. And I definitely loved juking, but I felt drawn to like other styles.
But I couldn't identify the juking foundation.
Yes.
Okay.
But I couldn't identify it as much because we just didn't have any like popping OGs. We didn't have, I don't even think we referred to it as popping. Like, if we saw somebody hitting, we didn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't even explain that.
And it's not as big. Here it's way bigger.
Yeah, like.
But the juke, I want to get back to where you're going, but just to interrupt here.
Yeah, go for it.
When you and Lil Buck moved out here, had you been training in juking before that? Was that kind of
I was already juking, but the thing is that. So you see now, like how they might say, I grew up and I had like a juking OG, and like I was learning from this person. Okay, I had no OG. I knew them all. They knew me. I would show up into the space, but the difference is these spaces were like, my mom wouldn't allow me as a young girl in high school to go hang out in a room with 40 men.
It's a lot of dudes.
And they're like 30 of them are grown. No shade, but my mom was just like, no. So
it's understandable.
I had, again, that, and it helped because I had a mentality of you're supposed to just be around it, watch it, and pick it up. So that's kind of what I did for a long time. You know, like I was around it. I knew everybody. We were cool, but I never had an OG. I never really had a teacher per se. I had influences galore. Like, I was definitely learning. But I never had anyone.
What drew you to this style? What drew you to that room of 40 men, right? When you're like, you sound like you didn't care. You're like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's just Memphis. Everyone jukes. I can't explain that.
Okay.
It's like, if you go, you can say to someone who is not a dancer, who has no interest, from Memphis, it's a cultural thing. So you can go, juke. And they will at the very least hit like a bug jump. Even if it's off beat or whatever,
right.
Because it's just a thing. I'm sure if you go to New Orleans, everybody could probably, like, they got some kind of bounce. Or if you go, it's just a cultural thing. So in Memphis, juking is, even if you don't do it, you probably know what it is or you're very aware of it because it's been around longer than I have. You know, my mom is an excellent gangster walker. My mom used to gangster walk in the club. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, it's a thing. I think you can't avoid it because you're at school and you go to a school dance and people are juking. You know, kids are like battling each other, trying to juke, trying to look like their big brothers or their, in my case, my cousin or certain people, you know, that you saw doing this style. So,
Okay.
you know, at that time, we knew it was juking. We knew it had a name. It was juking, or we call it bucking, or like it's just so many, you know, so many. I can remember being a kid and having a school performance in elementary school, like second grade, and the high school coming to perform, and them having a whole juking, like performance, and the whole auditorium is going get bug, and they like gangster walking. So, yeah, it's just like it's a part of the Memphis culture. I think I had no choice. Like you're just submerged in it. So
I didn't mean to break your flow. But you were talking about come out here and you come out here with you came with Lil Buck like together?
No. I was here already. I came
already.
So my eldest brother, my older brother, because it's only two of us. Like I said, he's a professional drummer, so he was here first, and I moved here. Just wanted to pursue just like entertainment, dance, acting, all the things because that's who we were as kids. Our mom put us in everything she could possibly put us in because we were just performing arts type kids, sports type kids. So I came here, and then Buck came and Miles came just on their own separate path. And we just kind of linked like.
And then he introduced you to Boogs.
And Buck introduced me to John Boogs.
Okay.
And he was just like, I feel like y'all have similar styles because coming out of Memphis, I had a teacher named Robin Sanders who was an amazing freestyler. Oh my God. And also an amazing choreographer.
Was this out of college or out of?
This was like, and I met Robin in high school.
In high school, okay.
Yes. She was amazing. And she would do this choreography. And most of the choreography was her hitting. So she would do a move and she would go boom, bop, boom, boom. And like there was never a like hitting situation. I just think she naturally was hitting from just like.
Were you at a performing arts high school or how did you?
I did go to a performing arts high school, but this was kind of like, you would think of it as almost like an all-star team, meaning this is the companies that I were a part of typically were like a choreographer or a dancer in the city who started a dance team or company, and you were allowed to be a part of it no matter what school you went to. There was like an age range, and a lot of times we did just like performances. We were not necessarily in competitions.
Right.
It would be like, oh, there's this so and so, we're gonna go perform there, or we're gonna go do this thing, or we're gonna open up for this thing, you know. So. She was like a hitter, so, and she would like freestyle and like hit all these waves and stuff. But again, she grew up in the 80s, so there was already a matter of like, she was popping, you know, and a lot of people at that time, you know, go, I'm pop locking or something like that, so she was popping. But there was never like this is how you hit. It was literally a bunch of kids watching her and mimicking her. So you see like 20 kids hitting just because we picked it up because we were like, we're supposed to look like you. So I feel like she's tensing. So I'm going to figure out what I need to hit on my body to do that. So when I moved here, it was already, I think, a thing just kind of like, yeah, you juke, but you're doing other stuff. Like we do other stuff, but your style is just different. I feel like I just had a different little Aki kind of style. And then I met Boogs, and he was like, yo, you're hitting. And I was like, okay, you know, like, what is that about? And he was like, bro, like, you're popping. And he was like, do you mind if I ask you, like, when you feel that, where are you feeling that? Where are you hitting? And I was like, oh, like, here. And I was, like, hitting. I had managed to figure out how to, like, smack my diaphragm, like, hit with my stomach.
Like, what you just did right there, like.
Yeah. Because I thought that's where she was hitting from. So I was just like... And he was like, yo, this is insane. No, I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you the tools. And I think he just kind of went through like the squeeze.
So were you like training and popping for an extended period of time?
When I moved here is when I started training and popping. And I think legitimately I was training. Personally, I feel like I grew really fast. Like, I think my brain was ready for it already, and I didn't know. And someone gave me the tools, and it was like, and I feel like within like a year's time, like a year or two, I was meeting like OGs and stuff because they would take me to go meet different people, Papa's Picnic, all this stuff. They were just kind of like blowing my mind with this whole new world because I just knew the South, you know? And so I would go meet these OGs and yeah, I think, you know, they would be like, yo, what the, like, you know, how long have you been popping? And I'd be like, a year, 2 years. And they would be like, no fucking way, dude. Yeah. And so I think that was the thing. So I was able to early on kind of already start formulating what I feel like my style would be, because I didn't need to seek, I already had style. I just needed someone to show me.
Yeah,
I already had my voice. And I always tell people, I
interesting.
think that was my advantage, is that I didn't start learning any styles without knowing who I was first. So
That's
I already
really
knew what I wanted to
interesting.
do. I just needed to know how to.
Oh, that explains so much.
It's like being full of poetry, but not sure how to write words.
Well, and that's why you could train with John Boogs and not come out
looking like
John Boogs, who, for those of you who have not seen John Boogs dance, look that up.
Yeah,
it's
he's
not,
amazing. He's amazing, and he was a great teacher at that time. He was a great teacher for me. He really, I think, just opened my mind to like, and then he, I feel like he helped me understand like what it meant to dedicate yourself to like just doing something over and over and over and over and over. And I think it was that entire Control Freaks crew, and they were an important part of my staple of growth at that point in my life, like the very beginning phase.
Then you started doing the thing that you didn't want to do as a little kid, which is the thing over and over and over. Yeah,
but I loved it so much, it didn't even feel like.
Of course.
I think it was the right timing.
Yeah.
Right? Like that kid me actually did need to be free so that I could get to that space.
You can't do it, right? This whole idea of trusting the process or loving the process, it's an ancient idea, right?
Yeah.
But it's become part of the popular vocabulary, I think, through basketball and maybe even Kobe specifically, who really started talking about that to the media, you know, but it's so true. Like, you know, well, drummers, like, it's it might be the most basically like, you're just gonna do this over and over and over and over. If you can't, if you don't like that process, you ain't gonna do it because it's just too tedious.
You have to wait till you're ready. It truly is a thing, you know.
Yeah. Or you just gravitate toward that thing, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so you come to LA. Were you looking for work as a dancer, or were you just doing?
I was looking for work as a dancer.
And did you have the choreo skills and all that to?
Yeah, I was. So at the time I came here, I feel like I was really good at choreo because I had been doing a crap ton of it. Maybe my last 2 years of high school.
With all those different companies you're talking about.
Yeah, And so I was like, I feel like I'm good at choreo. I feel like I'm pretty good at freestyling, which then like I met people who did that thing over and over and over and over. And I was like, okay, I got to get better at freestyling. I have to be cleaner. I have to be, I wanted to immediately find a way to be more clear in what I wanted to say. And my just kind of like approach to the art, I wanted to be seasoned immediately. Like, because the people that I were meeting had already been popping for like 10, 15 years. And so when all of your influences at the time are people who are like, not fresh jittery poppers, they're like seasoned, like I'm sitting the hit, bop, bop, you know? And so I immediately was like, okay, I'm going to get better at that, but I think that I'm still really good. So I started trying to figure out where to go. I didn't have any dance friends when I got here. And again, like Buck, myself, and Miles moved out here, but at separate times.
Right.
So we had to kind of wait for that all to fall in alignment, just kind of like knowing somebody from school. So I was here with my brother, who, again, is a musician, and he was kind of like, I love the dancing, amazing, but you can sing. So I think you should sing. And so he would send me job opportunities, and it would be like looking for someone to sing backup for this.
Did you do it?
So no. So that was a thing. To this day, he jokes with me, and he always goes, "Oh my God, like I can't believe you. Like you could have been like a female Michael Jackson." And he always says like, and he's not upset. We just kind of laugh about it because he feels like you should have just taken all of these things. But I feel like I love all of my gifts, and there's a way in which my gifts will be and are used in actuality. But sometimes it's hard when people think you have like this golden goose and they're like, you're not using the golden goose the way you're supposed to use the golden goose.
You're like, I like brass.
Yeah, pretty much, you know? And so he would like send me all these things. And so for a while it was kind of hard for me to figure out where to go as a dancer.
No one listens to their older brother anyway.
No one listens to their older brother until they really need his help. I love you, big brother. So anywho,
I'm an older brother. I can say that.
You guys, you take care of us. So he just had these ideas, and he was valid, but I like what I like, and I think you can see that in my dancing. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
There's no question. And how was it emotionally coming at her? The community that you described growing up in seemed very fluid and close knit, and kind of like nurturing,
right?
And then you come out here, as you said, with no friends.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean,
how did that go for you?
I had my brother, so that was great, and there were a lot of people from Memphis out here at that time, but they were all musicians and singers again. So I spent a lot of time on the music scene, like at a lot of like sheds and jams, and just like around a bunch of musicians, which was really cool. Excuse me. And then once I finally got to relink with Buck and Miles, I think that's when the actual journey of like kind of meeting people began, because
meeting dancers.
Yeah, like dancers specifically, or just like dance adjacent people who knew spaces you should be in or whatever that is, you know? So I think that's when it was able to really it was able to happen for me as far as building a space around me with people who were doing what I was doing. And then that actually allowed me to grow a lot more. Because I didn't spend so much time by myself dancing. You know, somebody would tell me about that session, and at that time there were a lot. There were like, you know, there was like a funk club called Carbon. There was like the Floor. There were like a bajillion sessions. So there was always somewhere to go to.
Carbon on Venice Boulevard?
Yes. Yeah.
You know what that place used to be called?
What?
It was this red, white, and blue painted place called Sloppy Joe's.
No
and
way.
It was. So I lived in Palms for a long time during the time that it transitioned. Mm-hmm. And I went there a couple times, and it was like literally the Sloppy Joe's, like
that's crazy.
Your mom would make.
Yeah.
And like cheap beer and sawdust on the floor.
That's crazy.
And then
definitely
it shut down
changed.
because I think it was there for a long time, like decades.
Yeah.
And then.
They brought it back as a club.
And then it became Carbon.
Yeah. We used to go, I mean, like get down, pop all night. Just I'm talking about sweating under
I
red
didn't know
lights.
That was a spot.
It used to be a spot. Yeah,
I love you bringing this stuff, because one of my goals with this is to get, not to drop names, but to name names.
Yeah.
Right? Like who are the influences and what are these spots? Like people talk about King a lot.
Yeah, King was
people talk about the Floor, of course. Any other space you remember like that? Because this is such an insular city, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think those are the only spots that like had a decent amount of consistency, like a run. A lot of things kind of like came in and out. Like there was a while where Carrie, he throws carnival. Carrie used to throw these events called Recession Sundays, and it was at El Cid. And every Sunday we were at El Cid, because everyone needed money. And so like we were, at that time, you knew that people were battling, I'm sure now even, but then like people were battling for rent. Like it was.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
It was like the survival of the fittest.
This is like 2008, 2009 kind of thing?
Like 2010, 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of energy, I would say. Yeah. Maybe between 2010 and like 2012. In that area. Yeah, for sure. It was a time. It was a time.
But it sounds
it was a time.
It sounds like it worked out for you.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first like real job?
Yes.
What was it?
It was the Oscars commercial.
Oh.
With I think it was Ellen DeGeneres, and it was really cool, and we wore these tuxedos, and it was like a million of us on the Universal lot. And we wore these, like we did all this choreo, and it was like the Oscars. Yeah, that was my first real job here, like on set, and it was really cool.
And that was as a dancer, right?
As a dancer.
These days do you get more work as a dancer or choreographer, or neither? Is there something else?
These days, dancer and movement director, and I shoot a lot now too. Yeah.
I
So
was
I
I was getting caught up on some of your some of your stuff.
Yeah, I just shot.
What do you use for the camera?
Sony A7S2. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it's my baby. I love her. I haven't upgraded her yet. She gets it done for me. But yeah, I get to do a lot of stuff now. The last thing I just did, I had a beautiful opportunity to shoot a visual for Estelle for her new single. So that was like really cool. Yeah. So now, I mean, essentially, like when I started pushing myself years ago, I already started deeming myself as a movement artist. And a lot of people, I believe, say that. But there's a specific reason why I deem myself a movement artist, because I was trying to facilitate the idea that I am a mover and a dancer first, but from that stemmed many artistic paths in which I am great at helping you because of my perspective as a mover. So I might be hired as movement director for actual like movement on the background of a set, or for the main person on the set, but also I might be the movement director. I've done some things with Nike where they are doing stills for a campaign and they need you to come in and just help the model understand what might be a dope way to move for this photo. So I think, I really early on automatically knew like I want to definitely push forward myself in my artistry and my gifts, my ability to have great ideas and to write them down and to turn them into little, movement short films, or to do things like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've had a heart for that for a very long time. And so just really honestly navigating that as a person and as an artist has been like the journey for me. Just kind of like, okay, you like this thing, believe in that thing, you can do that thing because it is a thing, and I think that's how all your dreams kind of are. It's like it starts out as like this seed. So if you asked me years ago when I came here, what are you pursuing? I would say, oh, I'm pursuing all the things that I'm talented at, but specifically dance. Dance is like what I care about the most. I want to dance with this artist. I want to do this thing. And I think within about a year or two of me training, it immediately began to become like, oh, I have the capabilities as a freestyler, as a movement artist to hold a space on my own. And I think that me recognizing I could do that changed my whole perspective, and it became a lot less.
Hold a space on your own as opposed to what?
As a performer, meaning like I didn't need to dance back up for people because I can get on a stage by myself and hold the room, hold the attention, have people watch it, be in it, enthralled in it. And I think
when did you realize that? That's a powerful thing to actually realize. I think there's people who can do that who don't realize it.
Yeah, I recognized that probably about a year or two of training.
You mean after you moved here?
After I moved here in LA, about year two. And I recognized it because I started going to clubs and like getting down in clubs and getting down and
people start watching.
I would feel the whole space stop. I would feel like other ciphers stop ciphering and join the cipher. And then I would have to talk to people all night long about like what was happening when I was dancing in the cipher.
I would have to take all these compliments.
Yeah. No, and that sounds crazy, but like realistically, people, I think I'm outgoing in a certain extent. Like I can hold a conversation with you. I think that I'm kind because that's how my mother raised me. But truthfully, John, I'm an introvert. So
this is totally like my wife is like this.
Yeah, so it's hard. People don't understand. Like I love you to death, but I am screaming on the inside right now.
And you're a good talker too. Right?
And it gets, I could talk.
Yeah,
I could talk. I could get you going. But
and I know when I mean, that's why I wanted to meet you, is because of what you're talking about. And you were not awkward.
Yeah.
You were very like, oh, hey,
let's do it. Yeah.
Like, complimented me on my shoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, great.
You always have nice shoes on. You do.
What's that?
You got good choice in shoes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I like your shoe choices.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
You mentioned you had a list of artists you want to work with. Who was the first one on that list that you actually realized? I
always knew I wanted to work with Missy.
I'm glad, because I was going to be like, she doesn't say Missy, I'm going to ask about Missy.
Yeah,
so
always.
I'm a huge fan, and even back like when her first video started coming out, and she was doing all those great albums with Timbaland, and I've always loved music. I got a big record collection, always been a huge, but hip hop was something that I would like there were certain things I liked, but it wasn't, I wasn't deep. I don't have a deep hip hop music vocabulary. It's gotten a lot deeper over the past 10 years because of being immersed in it.
Right.
But she was always like, I love her. And those videos, as someone who usually doesn't give a shit about music videos, just always like,
legendary.
That is art. And it still holds up.
To this day, still some of the greatest, can't be touched.
So just talk about that experience in any way you want. And did you get to like actually deal with her?
Yeah, it was an amazing situation. I was blessed to be hired, and I genuinely think it came from the internet. This is like early era Instagram, YouTube, and I think the earlier on recognition for me that people could now see you and you didn't have to wait to get into like a casting room. Like, things are changing, and so my first ever rehearsal walk-in day, first day, I remember being really excited to just be there, but like nervous. And I remember sitting around waiting, and then like Missy walks in, and I think the coolest thing about that day was she walked around the room to say hey to all the dancers that she already knew, and then she walked up and she goes, "What's up, She Street?" And I think for me, that was like, people may not think this is a big thing, but for me, that was insane to be in a space to meet someone who is like,
and they know your name.
I think she could have fired me right then. Like, I could have just went home after that, because to just have her walk in, and you think it's the job itself, but I think it was the acknowledgement that like someone who has done so many amazing things with music and with visuals and with the types of dancers and choreographers she's hired and how she's allowed them to show their best selves. It inspires so much of childhood me and adult me that you just kind of are mind blown that someone that has such an importance kind of on their name and their career.
Yeah, she's a cultural icon. Like,
can
just
walk into a space and you just moved here and you're trying to figure out life, and they kind of acknowledge you in such a way.
She knew who you were. You're saying that was your point about the internet being able to.
Yeah, because I think that really what it was I did a video and I feel like she liked it. She liked the video, and that was the first inkling of me knowing that like Missy had seen some version of me. And then at the time I had some people that I knew from Memphis that were around her, and I genuinely feel like one of them, if I can remember correctly, writing me and telling me like, "Bro, I saw your video. And I'm going to show Miss." And I just remember being like, okay, but you don't think... People say things all the time, you know? So
that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Especially in this city. Like, the more people tell you... I say this all the time to people who like are new to this place, whatever. If somebody starts telling you off the bat, all these people that work in it...
Just go ahead and don't worry about it.
Or it's like... not really true. People on the bus will start telling you this shit.
Yeah,
right?
it's just
incredible.
the way here.
Anyway,
just
I'm sorry.
Shoot the shit. No, you're right. You're right. So I just didn't really believe any of it. And then just being in there rehearsing, and I don't know how that happened, but I know it wasn't through any necessarily anything I'd done in an audition space where she just knew me from that. You know what I mean?
But you had done a traditional audition as well.
Yes.
And was this for a tour or for a video, or what was it for?
So this was for, this wound up being for a music video. It was for when she came back out and she did Where They From. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I was brought back to do the same song. They did a performance, her and Pharrell, on The Voice. And then I did another gig with her that was like, it was like a Grammy party type situation, something massive in WeHo that was like...
Right, one of those LA things.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did something like that with her, and then that was it. Yeah, like, because Missy was not, at that time, touring and had no intentions of touring. I mean, she just started really, like, popping back out recently within the past year or two.
So you probably know this, but that last tour she just finished up was her first ever headlining tour.
Yeah.
And I realized, like... Because I guess she just kind of, after all the success and everything, she just kind of checked out for a while. And good for her. Like,
absolutely.
That takes a lot of wherewithal to do that.
It does. And to come back, and like, that's even crazier, it's scarier, I think it would be
terrifying.
You know? So
did you go see her?
I didn't have a chance to go see her. I did see...
I wish I'd gone. And when the tour came out, I was like... It was at Crypto, and just those big arena shows,
Yeah.
they don't sound good to me.
I feel you.
And it's not like I need the music
You want
to
that
sound
experience,
good.
yeah.
And I wasn't going to be able to afford floor
Yeah.
seats.
No, I feel
So I
you.
was like, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I
But,
feel you.
know?
I feel you.
But
Yeah.
I really would have loved to seen that show.
Yeah, I mean, she's an amazing performer, and she always has the best of the best, especially when it comes to dance. I'm always there for the dance. Truthfully, I
Yeah.
love everyone really bad. Love you down. But yeah, so I'm always going to be at a concert watching the dancers.
Since we're talking about amazing women dancers, can I ask you about the council?
Absolutely.
And well, I just say my perspective on it. Okay, first of all, who are the people actually in the council? I know it's you and
Right
Crystal
now?
and yeah, right now.
So me.
Or whoever you want to name,
No.
in part of it.
Me, Crystal Jackson Singletary,
Yes.
Yoey, my wife,
Yes.
Amari Marshall, and Storm DeBarge.
Okay.
5.
The 5 of you. Mm-hmm. So, just by being in this scene,
Mm-hmm.
you all put out so much good work that I see it
Thank
and
you.
I watch it.
Thank
right?
you.
And as much as I love this community, I don't watch all the dance videos.
Yeah.
I mean, who does? You don't have
Yeah,
time.
no. Yeah.
But every time
I
you
feel
drop
it.
something, I want to watch it.
Thank
And
you,
then
John.
those of you that I've met and gotten to know a little bit, like yourself and
Yeah.
Crystal,
Yeah.
are really, like, I don't know, people that I believe in and I feel like have something to say,
Thank
right?
you. Yes, thank you.
So I would just like to know what, I know overall it's, Black Women Collective,
Yeah.
Artist Collective. But other than that, I don't know when it started. I don't know if you have a specific goal.
Okay.
So just tell
Let it
me
all
and
out.
the people what it's all about, because
Absolutely.
it communicates a lot.
Absolutely. Okay, so the council is an all-female collective. It was formed in 2015, actually. There was a completely different group of women, some who are still there now, like Yoey is a remaining member. Myself, there are some other beautiful queens that were in the group. Like, I'll just name a few. There was a young lady named Jaslyn Miller who was just absolutely insane, still is. Comfort was in the group. Comfort Fidoki was in the group. Lindiwe Rose from South Africa, she was in the group. Justice Domingo, Chantel Urenia was in the group. There was it was just a heavy hitting group of Black and brown women at that time. And I knew I had great ideas of just formulating a group of all women that were just heavy hitters. And at the time when I started the group, it was for 2 reasons. One, I had felt very much overwhelmed and just kind of oversaturated with masculinity, because my whole life has just been kind of men. Seriously, I played sports. I was always the tomboy. And quite frankly, I made friends with boys before girls because I didn't have a lot of, at that time, what I would consider girly interest, right? So I started to reach an age where I started to just kind of come into my womanhood, and I recognized I needed the comfort of other young women, right? But not only that, I recognized the lack of camaraderie between women who had powerful movement or just powerful energy. What happens a lot of times, and what was happening then, was there would be one girl who would be amazing, and it was she was this little prize piece owned by this group of boys. And then there'd be another girl, and she would be over here, and she would be this prize amazing girl, and she would also be surrounded by men. And typically what would happen is that we would always get pitted against each other. We would be like the girl pawn starting out to be pitted against each other in whatever battle, whatever, So I didn't always like that. And I didn't always like that I just didn't have that balance of my life of feminine and masculine energy. And at the time, I felt very much burnt out by, honestly, a lot of toxic masculinity, a lot of just a lot of things that we won't even really go into, but just know that at that point in my life, I was okay, love it. Thank everyone for all the things that you've done, and you probably should be thanking me for what I've done. And we're gonna just kind of separate. And so I was just kind of by myself. And then I was you know what? I'm gonna pull together these women that I adore, and just see what forms of it I feel we could just create something really powerful. And at the very least, we will inspire other women. that was kind of like the initial ground goal. And then eventually that first group, I recognized a lot of things about the pathway I wanted to take then. Kind of like trial and error, honestly. And I'm like a really honest girl about the way I do things.
Okay.
So I pretty much like put everyone out the group. Everyone. I was like, hey, I love everybody. This is great, but I understand our energies are not in alignment for what I want this to be. And I think that everyone should respect a person's vision. If you have a vision for something, I'm going to respect that, and I'm going to adhere to what you need me to do to bring your vision to life because I agreed to be a part of it. So,
Wow.
Same. This situation, I had a particular vision, and I think that a lot of people loved me, but they couldn't see the vision. So the way they prioritized it was not something that I felt would make the group grow.
Okay.
And so I kind of just hit a situation of like, hey, I don't think this is it. And then there was no group. And then I came and I took Yoey back and I took another young lady back and I said, okay, it's 3 of us because I feel like y'all were pretty much on point. And we're just going to hold this down as a council until I feel like I get that nod. I'm a spiritual person, by the way. So it was always like until I feel like there's this kind of like God literally has to give me that feeling or tell me like this is a person you should be around. So the first time I made the decisions on who would be in the group. This time God made the decisions, and I truly believe that. Like it was never a plotting and planning. Oh, I've been seeing this girl and she's cold and I think she should be in the group. This particular group of women, no. It all actually, I think, happened so organically it couldn't be any crazier. And so by second group, which is where we are now, the goal became, okay, not only are we a safe space for women, but we are a space that like we elevate each other and we kind of we praise the fact that you know you're the shit here, right? Like I don't think that's a thing. We just want to be so modest and cute and sweet all the time. Sometimes just like for the sake of feeling that is more feminine. And that's not the deal. The deal is that this is the kind of women, these are the kind of women we are. This is the kind of woman I am. And I think the more you cultivate that energy, the wilder that person, the bigger that person can be. And so I felt that for myself, and I knew that I needed that comforting zone in order to like incubate this greatness and then make it something greater. But I'm not a selfish person, and I'm a people person. And so for me, I went, okay, I'm about to do this for myself, but I want to do this with other women because I'm also a firm believer that nothing great ever happens from a solo person. Nothing of change, even if you go, oh my God, we can sit and we can go, Missy's iconic. She is, but she has a team.
Yeah.
She has, and so I recognized that early on, like, you need a group of people. In church, they say where 2 or more are gathered, God is in the space. I think that is a real thing. In life, where you have 2 or more people, where you have people gathered with the same mindset, the same consciousness, the same goals, magic happens. And so I recognized that if I could get a group of women who had, similar backgrounds, similar understanding for life so that we're not in a room arguing, trying to explain to you why this is a thing, right? Then we, like, because that actually, you know what I'm saying?
So that's what happened the first time?
Yeah, I think that in certain ways with certain members, that definitely was, there was such a separation in real life experiences and how we experience life that we couldn't necessarily come together for this other thing. And so I think the space I have now, it's like we understand why no one needs to explain why we need to say Black women, or why we need to say we need this, or why we need to say we won't stand down on this and we won't play this game. And there's a reason, because we've all experienced it as individual women. And so now you can come together with a common mindset of we're not doing that shit anymore.
Well, the output that you put that the world sees communicates that without any question. It's almost like you don't even need to
Yeah.
say that.
And that's the point. You don't want to preach it. You want to live it.
You know, other than, okay, so, you know, we see the
Right.
output.
Right.
How does it actually work? Like, are you meeting weekly? Are you like, what is the growth process for the council?
So initially what it was is I told everyone, hey, this is not like one of those groups where you join it and then like our job is to just like meet up and dance, right? We're a family. So that means we, for years, we had like mandatory dinners, like mandatory, like show up Sunday, you're cooking, we're going to sit down. It was more important for me to break bread. I would really dig into people's business. So like, what's going on? What's this? What's happening? Oh, so it sounds like you need counseling. So like, hey, don't you know so-and-so's a therapist? Like, let's get her in therapy.
They would hit you back with the same.
It would be,
thing.
you know, or like I need someone to talk to, or this is happening, or I'm having a panic attack, or so it became like the idea is that we are each other's responsibility as human beings. No one really needs help at being a great artist because everyone's a great artist, right? The issue is artists fail in most cases because of their surroundings.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So the way I want myself to be successful is to have not only the strength and the support to be able to believe in what I'm doing even when I don't feel so great, to have that backing, but also I want to have a mirror up to me that goes, hey, you know you're full of shit right now in life, right? Like, you know that you're heading down a path, and we were there with you when you were in the gym jumping, working hard for this, and you're starting to make decisions that are deviating you from the original goal. I wanted a sense of accountability, not just like dance homegirls. I wanted people that I can go, hey, I just went on this job, or I was just in this room and this happened and so said this to me and it made me feel this way. Is that weird? And I'm going, no, that was not weird. That was crazy, because I think a lot of times, not just women, but artists are alone a lot, and we experience a lot of crazy shit, bro. And excuse my, language. We experience a lot of crazy things.
I am not the
we experience a lot of crazy things, and I think that you need people to kind of just help you reground yourself.
Well,
and so overall, as the council, the job for us now, do we meet weekly? No, because everyone's so busy.
Right.
That it's impossible to
But you formed the nucleus.
We formed a nucleus, so you can come back.
Yeah.
When you're oppressed, when you're stressed, when you're depressed, you can come to this space and get what you need in order to continue to build your platform.
This is really Are you all from, are any of you from LA? In the council? Excuse me?
Storm DeBarge is from LA.
Okay, so
and the rest of the group is from Florida.
Well, and Memphis.
Yeah, well, me. You know that already.
But
yes.
The reason I ask is because, this place, right, can be so discouraging, right? And
it's mind-blowing.
And, I grew up in Southern California.
Yeah.
I grew up in Fullerton. I don't know if you know where that is.
Okay, Fullerton.
It's North Orange County.
Okay,
so
okay.
35 miles southeast.
Okay.
So, and then I went to UCLA, and so I've been around this all my life.
Right.
And I've seen kind of all these sides of it from this place.
Yeah.
And it's like what you've put together, I mean, it's kind of next level, but it does, like, just on the basic level, it fulfills this function of like, I'm lost in this crazy wilderness. Because, right, this place is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But then it can be so depressing, especially if you go on a audition and somebody calls you this or that, or like,
I'm a problem solver, dude.
Like, that's so great.
That's what it is for me. Like, I think I'm a solutions-based person. So what I don't have, I'm going to find it, I'm going to create it, and then I'm going to make sure no one else has to ask for it.
This is great. Well, this explains why your name has come up so much, not just from women, but when I've been doing these conversations, this explains why I know Chantel in particular cited you as like someone that was really formative for her when she came here and was experiencing some of these things.
Yeah.
Thanks for digging into that, right?
Yeah.
Like I
of course. Thanks for asking.
I think this stuff can get really vague,
Yeah.
and so that's why I liked it. Oh, give me, let's dig into this.
Yeah.
A little
I try
bit.
to dig as much as I can without like saying names or placing blame in certain spaces, because I
Right.
think that that's something that I spent years dealing with healing. And so at this point, it really is no point for me to put names or certain things to
Right.
it, because I think that
Right.
it takes away from the greater purpose of this conversation, which is like, yeah, you can go through shit like that, but also you can get out of shit like that. And you can create a space where it's okay for you to not want other people
Do you
to
think
go
it's
through things
getting
like that.
like, have you seen a cultural shift like since you've been in this? I know in the just sticking to the dance community, there's certainly
Yeah.
a lot of strong women,
Yeah.
which I think is a great thing. But it's also, as I've had various types of this conversation on this thing too. I'm still a little surprised at how male dominated a lot of battles are.
Yeah.
Just because I know the
Yeah.
talent, and I know that more girls grow up dancing than guys.
Yeah.
And then we end up in this place. But have you seen a cultural shift? Where do you feel it's headed or going?
I think the biggest cultural shift I see is that I think a lot more women are starting to just kind of like, it seems like they're kind of just going, fuck that, and they're just doing their thing. And like coming out a lot more, I guess you would say, just like there's a lot more oomph there. There's a lot more power behind certain people. So there's not like just this one B-girl for like 10 years who's killing it off. Now there's like 10 B-girls,
Right,
or
right.
so I think there's been a shift. It's in the little girls. I think I see it more in the little girls. Like when we talk about
Who was
16 and younger,
Who was it? Was her name Zoe?
Zoe's
Versus-
insane. She's
Oh my
she's
God.
amazing. I'm saying, like, little girls now, like the kids, like 16 and under, are blowing my mind. They are not. They're beating grown men.
I have seen some of this, and it's
Yeah.
great. I'm drawing a blank. In Vegas, famous dancer's daughter. You know what I'm
Joe
talking
Styles'
about.
daughter.
Yes.
Ellie.
Ellie.
Ellie. She's
Ellie
great
Styles
too.
is
Yeah,
phenomenal. Yes.
she's great. And so I think I see the shift in the kids, which is that's the most
the truth, right?
important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see the shift with the kids, and then I definitely see a shift in. There's a newer. I want to say like Gen Z. A small splice of millennial men who they are just different. I'm seeing men now who are they just are so much more receptive, and they are so much more willing to give the respect and give the love, and it does not take away from them. And I think that has been really beautiful. Just seeing a shift in men who will come up and go like, no, you're my favorite, or you're amazing. And I just want to point out, it's not just like you're amazing for a girl or the most amazing girl. You are one of the most amazing dancers. And I think people don't understand how far that recognition goes, because you kind of really, I've never really heard a person tell a guy, you're so good for a boy. Right? And so like that, it seems like a compliment for some reason to people, but now I'm starting to meet, these young men who are like, yo, like I'm inspired by him, I'm inspired by you and her. And I think that it goes a long way, because people then begin to know that like what they're doing is not in vain, and that someone sees it and someone feels it. Because I mean, overall, the whole job is connection. So I feel like once people can acknowledge like, you made me feel something, and I'm not pissed at you for it. Because sometimes that's the feeling. You made somebody feel something, and then there's this insecurity that pops up, and they're like, yo, they're going to think this girl is like, are they going to think she's better than me? Or I feel like I've dealt with those things, And meanwhile, the girl is just like trying to be great, like you're being great.
Right.
But, so I think that has been a shift. I've seen a lot of men more, like way more respectful. And again, I'm gonna shout out Gen Z, and I'm gonna shout out some of my millennial babes, because it's definitely there. It's definitely you guys, definitely a lot of the younger men who don't live with all of the toxic stuff on them, you know, in that way. And they, you know, paint their nails and have girlfriends and they do cool things and I love them. So, yeah. So I think, you know, that's the shift that I've seen, that the boys are this newer generation. They're switching it up, and the little girls are, I'm excited because I feel like they'll grow into a space as women where they'll have older men that will actually embrace them, and not embrace them when the time is right, and not embrace them once that girl works her ass off and does just enough things where, you know, because everyone respects her now, you have to go, oh, yeah.
Right.
You know,
right.
I think it'll be genuine now. Now you will genuinely see people be able to, like, transition.
That's good to hear.
And so that's what I hope.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, you know, could be happening. And yeah, and I think it's just a different vibe. I think the little boys and little girls are growing up on a more equal playing field now.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's good to hear you say that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I definitely was seeing that, and then now there's this big picture cultural shift, like that's disturbing as fuck, right? And yet I still feel that on the whole there's a movement toward what you're talking about, but this backlash is scary.
Yeah.
To me.
As heck. Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, I'm the guy who's like, like gonna pass, or like, you know what I mean? Right. And I still think, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that you think that
there's hope.
There's cultural shift.
Yeah.
And say good things about Gen Z.
Yeah.
I really am not down with this like talking shit on the
I like Gen
younger
Z.
generation.
Yeah, I like them. They're cool.
I just think this is the oldest, most boring, like that in the Battle of the Sexes. Like you can go back to Socrates,
like,
and he was complaining about the younger generation, right?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
Like find something new.
Yeah,
like,
find
you know,
something new.
Things happen. Times change.
Well, hey, I really appreciate this. Is there anything else you want to get into before we?
You know, honestly, I'm just happy to be here.
Cool.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Nice. I did too.
You asked some really dope questions, and you know, hopefully the editing isn't crazy because I can talk a lot.
No. I do minimal editing because it saves me time.
I feel it. I feel that. No, I feel that 100. Honestly, no. I just, you know, thank you if you were watching today, and I hope that you can relate to something, and that it inspires you to do your own thing and be your own person. And the more we are ourselves, the better the world is. And so, you know, I'm just grateful to be a part of this timeline of life with these dancers and people like John who want to, you know, help us put our words and voices out there in this moment of history. So I don't have anything to say, but just stay great.
You definitely project all that you're talking about, right? Like you've always got some kind of personal style that stands out, and then
thank you,
and all of that. So it's been great getting to know you a little bit.
I agree.
If you've got another 15 minutes or so and want to do it, please do not feel like I would love to do a little drum dance exchange.
Okay.
Are you up for it?
Okay. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what we can make happen.
All right, let's do it. And now I know the pressure's on me because like now that I know you know drummers, I can't just get away with some bullshit here. But I think I'll do all right.
Okay, I think you will. You seem like you've been, you know, you got all of the setup here, man. So I don't think I'm dealing with a novice here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. This is awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, this is very awesome.
Yeah, let's take me 5 minutes. you.
This one.
We're gonna switch it. We're gonna switch it.
The fears. All right.